Craven the Hunter, who uses all the methods of the animals.
Now, witness the making of a new Marvel villain.
Once you're on his list, there's only one way off.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is Craven the Hunter. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit Shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
Chicago to your speakers.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast. You know, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, go ahead, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. And shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code TheRunPodcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or our website, so I'm not sure about you, but go ahead, create that website or create that profile and use the promo code. Save yourself $20. There's still some football going on. Obviously, college football is coming to an end, but NBA season is hyping up. Got the NBA Cup games and all of that stuff, so definitely use that promo code and save yourself $20 when you create that account. Anyway, man, you know, one of the first things, too, this is slightly different on how we're going to start the episode, because one of the things that is brought up a lot is, like, you know, when people got their favorite team, you always wonder, like, you know, hey, are you from there? Are you from there? Like, my team is the Atlanta Falcons, and that's the main question I get. Oh, are you from Atlanta? And it's like, no, that's not necessarily the case. So it's a thought of, like, how did you get that as your favorite team? Like, how did they become your favorite team? And that's like the thing that I'm curious about. I want to hear from y'all, of course, obviously, 219-413-9405. Let me know if you have a strange story like me, like I'm going to tell you, then, you know, I want to hear it, because my experience is pretty unique when it comes to, like, having a favorite team. And I grew up in Detroit, and now I live in Chicago. Bears are not my favorite team. Lions are not my favorite team. It's the Atlanta Falcons. So to make the story really quick, how I found my favorite team, when I was choosing a favorite team in football and getting introduced to football, the Lions were a laughingstock. They've always been a laughingstock throughout my entire childhood. They've been a joke. And I've never wanted to cheer for a team that was a joke of the NFL. And I'm like, why would I cheer for a team if I have an opportunity to choose who my team is? Why would I choose the Lions? I don't care that I grew up in the area. I don't care that everyone in my family likes them. I don't care that friends is cheering for them. I want to go in a different direction. I'm not choosing a team that's coming off an 0-16 season that can't win a single game. I just was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And at that time, specifically, you know, one guy who was really, really tearing up the league at that time was Mike Vick. And I had a bunch of Michael Vick gear. I had a bunch of Michael Vick bobbleheads, blankets, sweater. I mean, I had the gear. I was a fan. He's one of the most influential players to ever touch a ball in sports in general. So, I mean, I had all the gear, so I stuck beside it. By the time I got older, you know, I kept following football and kept checking on the Falcons. You know, that's just where it happened to be. I mean, They were not good after Vic left and for some time, but at the end of the day, man, I was like, I'm going to just stick with the Falcons because, I mean, my boy Vic held it down while he was there, and I loved it that he had so much excitement to the game. He made me a fan. He made me a lifelong fan with the Atlanta Falcons. So up until that point, man, I was like, I'm riding or dying, and time continued to go on. Lions was just bad, still bad. Never really kicked it into gear. I just couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it. I could not. I was like, I'm going to just be honest, bro. I'm not going to be one of them fans that's cheering when my team is 0-16. Hell no. I'm gonna be honest, bro. And a lot of y'all too. I feel like there's a lot of Lions fans out here that's newer, so they don't really understand like how that really felt, you know? I feel like it's a lot of Lions fans, they're just used to them being good. They're used to them being a subpar type of team, even when they had Matt Patricia there. Like, a lot of people were, okay, Lions is winning a game. They actually won this time. Like, they were bad, but they weren't to the extent of like, bro, this team is an abomination. They are awful. So it's like, I could not do it, man. And I know for me, the year when they were 0-16, it was just like solidifying. Like, man, ain't no way I'm about to ever cheer for the Lions. Like, I'm just not gonna be a fan. I'm gonna be happy if they're good. Cool, we get something to cheer for. Like I always say, if the Lions end up winning the Super Bowl this year, best believe I'm going to the parade. Will I be hooting and hollering like I'm a natural born Lions fan? Hell no, but I'm there. Best believe that. Like, I'm there. It's gonna be fun. It's something to do. It's home. I mean, so it's cool, but it's a weird thing, but man, I couldn't do it, man. Vic was holding it down with the Falcons. He had the league extremely exciting at that time, all the way from 2001 to 2008 or 2009, whatever it was. And man, he had me hooked. So because Vic had me hooked, when I was introduced to football, I was like, I'm staying right here in Atlanta. I'm staying as an Atlanta Falcons fan, and I don't care how good the Lions get, I'm going to be a Falcons fan first. So I'll cheer for the Lions because hometown team, of course, and same with the Bears. They ain't never really had that connection with the Bears. The Bears is just garbage. So I'm like, definitely ain't got no attachment. It would be cool to see the Bears good, but best believe they win a Super Bowl somehow, I would be at the parade too, because it's a crucial part of, where I've lived in my experience. So, it's fun just being in the city, that you lived in and being able to celebrate with friends who are here and friends who are Chicago Bears fans. So, it's cool. But I definitely ain't cheering for the Bears hard on Sunday. You ain't catching that. And then for everybody out there too, who loves saying, hey, bro, you always wearing these different hats. I done seen you in a Lions hat. I done seen you in a Vikings hat. I done seen you in a Ravens hat. For people who are always saying those type of comments, bro, just know, man, it's a difference. It's a difference between wearing a team hat because it go with the outfit and wearing a team hat because you actually like the team. It's a major difference. You know how many hats I have in my collection, bro? Like, I got a lot of different team hats. And that don't mean I'm just fans of everybody. That just means sometimes, the little accent red go with the accent on the shoes. That's all it means. It just mean the Lions blue kick out the jeans sometimes. Like, it just, sometimes it just goes perfectly with the fit. So it ain't necessarily that I'm a fan of every team that you see on my hat. Atlanta Falcons is the only team I claim myself as a fan for, but other than that, man, nah. It's a difference now. It's a difference. So you can't immediately jump the gun and be like, oh, damn, you're a Chicago Bears fan? Like, nah, bro, relax. Relax just a little bit. Take a few steps back, because that's not what we're not finna do that. So I gotta clarify that. And then with the NBA, man, it's completely. It's not even a question. For NBA, it's not even a question. My favorite team, Pistons will always, probably my favorite sports team in all of sports, honestly. When we talk Real Madrid, Atlanta Falcons, Detroit Pistons, Detroit Tigers, Detroit Red Wings, Pistons is at the very, very top of that list. Very, very top of that list. They will always be the number one team for me. And a lot of that just really come from, when I was little, around that Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace era and stuff like that, man, those guys really used to make an impact, man. I am living proof that when guys are showing up to camps and helping you on your basketball skills and giving speeches at the end of camps, and they're a part of a team that you already cheer for, it does make a huge difference, man, because they established me to be a lifelong fan when knowing Tayshaun Prince is coming to a basketball camp that I'm at, knowing Rasheed Wallace or Ben Wallace is coming to hoop with us at a basketball camp. Like, that helped me establish fandom for life. So anybody who's thinking like, oh, it don't really matter, yeah, they say they do stuff in the community. Nah, man, it really does make a difference, because, just even the little free gifts that they used to give out, it made a huge difference. Like, all right, everybody here getting Piston t-shirts. Yeah, it got Meyer on the back of it, but still, to me as a little kid, you're like, bro, nah, hell yeah, I got a Pistons t-shirt with the Pistons from 04 and 05 on it. Hell yeah. You love it. So it's interesting, man. You know, it's interesting. A lot of people always ask that, bro. Like, how do you get your favorite sports team? How are you a fan of this team? What made you a fan of that team? And for me, man, it was just for the NFL. I was selective about it. I said, man, I'm choosing. I don't give a damn. Lions is 0-16. I'm choosing who I want to be my team since I have the opportunity. Because I know damn well a lot of y'all wish y'all could go back and choose a team that you want to be your favorite right now rather than sticking with them sorry-ass Browns or somebody like that. Not to just point fingers at the Browns, because there's a lot of bad Tennessee Titans fans out there. I mean, the Lions fans is just now glowing up. Bears fans is living through hell. So it's a lot of people who would love to switch teams from what they originally picked when they was at age 6 or 7. But for me, I guess I was ahead of my time because, well, maybe not, because I picked the Falcons. So maybe I wasn't ahead of my time. I don't know. But I'm always curious, man. How did you find your team and what made you become a fan of the team you're cheering for? It's interesting. It's an interesting conversation. Anyway, look, shoot us a call. Leave a quick take if you're hearing this, man. Of course, I want to hear it. Those on social media, of course, too, I want to hear. But 219-413-9405. Shoot us a quick take. I want to hear about it. We got some predictions coming up too. So stay tuned. We got some predictions and then we're gonna cut into the news. But I guess we can consider this halftime, but not just yet, because usually we halftime it right before the news. So take a quick break and then we'll be right back. We got some news and some predictions coming up, but the predictions is first, and these are just on the key games that you gotta look out for in week 15 of the NFL. These are games I'm definitely going to be watching. I know it's a lot of football, but in the NFL, these games I will be looking out for sure. So quick predictions coming up in just a sec. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
So, you want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write a million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
All right, man, so let's get into it. We got some predictions of some key games that's happening in these key matchups in week 15. The first game I cannot wait to watch. Man, it's going to be a showdown. I think it's a test for both of these teams as they play each other. You got the Buffalo Bills versus the Detroit Lions. And in this matchup between the Bills and the Lions, I really think the Lions is going to end up taking the win here. Because, man, the Lions are at home, which is a huge help for them. But ultimately, man, the Lions are second in rushing yards per game, fourth in passing yards per game. And that defense, I know they're beat down and injured, but that defense is standing tall right now. They're fifth in rushing yards allowed per game. So because the Bills struggled last week against kind of a sorry Rams team, or at least a sorry Rams defense, I think, man, the Lions is definitely going to have a chance to lock in and take advantage of the Bills on both sides of the ball. So it'll be interesting to see, man, and thinking of this from a game plan aspect, Lions, their defense is so much better than what the Rams presents on a weekly basis. I find it difficult that the Bills put up 40 points against the Rams and they still ended up losing in that game. So believing that they'll end up beating the Lions when the Lions is definitely not going to allow them to put up 40 points, it's just kind of mind-blowing to me, and I can't get around that fact when I'm thinking of different reasons that the Bills will probably win this game. And I know injuries are obviously a part of this game. Lions, they got over 15 people on injury reserve right now. So they are beat down and hindered, which a lot of Bills fans are probably looking to take advantage of. But ultimately, the Lions didn't look like they missed a beat at all last week. And I know last week wasn't like a crazy test for them where, you know, it was something where it was a make or break type of deal against the Packers. But ultimately, that pass rush still very solid against the Packers. And they forced them to really struggle, especially with passing the ball. Jacobs was the main one that really helped the Packers get downfield. Without them, they would have struggled. But we'll see how that works out, man. The Bills, I firmly believe we'll see Josh Allen go off. Josh Allen is definitely going to have a game. I think he wouldn't be an MVP candidate if he wouldn't have a game on a weekly basis. But the Bills defense is going to be dependent on them because they're going to have to step up. They're going to have to step up and hold the Lions from scoring points because we know that's an offense that can go toe-to-toe with you however you want to play it. So whether they got to throw the ball, whether they got to run the ball, Lions offense will make it happen. And Lions defense has shown no signs of slowing down this far. So it will be tough, man. It's going to be a battle. I think it's a test for both teams coming into this matchup. But above all, we going with the Lions for the win, man. Lions for the win. All right, so look, we got another matchup too. Gonna keep an eye out for this game. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this game between the Steelers and the Eagles is happening in Philly, and I think it's going to be a shocker, man. I think the Steelers are actually going to win this ball game here, and I say this mainly because, obviously, as we know, running is huge for the Philadelphia Eagles, so Steelers are probably going to try and look to slow down the run. But I know that's everybody's strategy when they get ready to play the Eagles is let's slow down the run and make Jalen Hurts pass. But for some reason, and I'm going to tell you why in a sec, I really believe the Steelers are going to be a team that can actually slow down the run. Not only because they have a solid defense where they're fourth in yards allowed per game defensively, passing, rushing, they're fourth in defensive yards allowed per game, but I say they're going to be able to actually slow down the rushing because when you look at the different teams that they've played, number 2 and number 3 teams in rushing yards per game, the Steelers were able to slow them down. So the Commanders were number 2 in rushing yards per game. The Ravens were number 3 in yards per game, right behind the Eagles. And the Steelers defense held those both of those. The Steelers defense held both of those teams to numbers well below their average. So, for example, the Ravens, their average was 179 rushing yards per game. The Ravens were held to 124 yards when they played the Steelers. And for the Commanders, it got even worse. The Commanders, they averaged 156 rushing yards per game. But when they played the Steelers, only thing they could put up was 60 rushing yards. So for the Philadelphia Eagles, who's a fairly solid rushing team, I find it difficult that the Ravens are going to have, or that the Steelers are going to have some trouble stopping another elite rushing team when they've done it multiple times against the second best rushing team, and they've done it against the third best rushing team in the NFL, not just the conference, but in the NFL. So this Eagles team, we seen they almost blew the game against the Carolina Panthers last week. They played against Bryce Young. Bryce Young was getting it done. They almost allowed Bryce Young to throw for 200 yards against the Eagles. And then also, too, the thing that I really couldn't help but to notice going back to the Eagles is they couldn't stop the Panthers from scoring. This game was a lot closer than it really should have been. And because of that, a lot of pressure is going to be on the Eagles defense in terms of being able to stop the Steelers. Steelers are not the best team that you're going to come across in terms of the moving the ball on the offensive effort. They can get it downfield, but they struggle in the red zone, and that's just the reality of it. But above all, this team's defense has really been helping them a lot, and they've beaten teams off kicking field goals only. Eagles do not want to become one of those teams where the Steelers have beat you because they can kick field goals and stop your offense from actually getting in the end zone. So it's going to be tough. There's obviously a lot of drama going on too right now with the Eagles in terms of their team chemistry. There's been some rumors about Jalen Hurts where him and A.J. Brown are just not seeing eye to eye right now. A.J. Brown was asked about what the Eagles need to do better on offense or something similar to that question. And he dead ass just told the guy, passing. We got to get better at passing. So that's shots. That shot's fired at Jalen Hurts, your quarterback. So they got to get it together, man. It seems like the chemistry is being shaken up right now. But this isn't anything abnormal from any other good football team that has some sort of success over the years and trying to get down to the Super Bowl. Obviously, everybody's not going to get together on a 53-man roster, so we'll see, man. We'll see. But anyway, in this game here, man, I think I'm rolling with the Steelers to pull through for the upset. I got the Steelers for the win in this matchup. Gonna be crazy. Crazy matchup. And then the last one, I have two. So obviously we got the two big games. And you know, I think this game that I'm about to talk about is the game that people have been waiting for. This is the matchup people have been waiting for. And this is not necessarily the matchup, but I think it's going to be the game that people have been waiting for in terms of the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cleveland Browns. And this game is happening in Cleveland between the Chiefs and the Browns. And I'm going with the Browns to actually win this ball game. I say this because, man, Jameis Winston has given the people of Cleveland something to actually cheer for, something to look forward to on Sundays. Yes, I know Jameis Winston isn't necessarily winning every single game or winning ball games, but yet he's putting points on the board, which is something that the Browns struggled to do week after week early on when they had a different quarterback. So now that they can actually score, they're in games, they're in fights, they're keeping up with their opponents in these matchups that they're playing. So now you have a Chiefs team who's coming to town in Cleveland. Chiefs, we know they are balling right now. They only lost one game so far, and they've been winning a lot of games by the luck of the Irish or the voodoo of Big Tay, whatever you want to call it. So Chiefs, they're here, but they've been playing to the level of their opponents in every single week of this season so far, besides maybe 1 week. And now they're going against a Browns team at home who puts up a fight every Sunday. Man, I think I'm going with Jameis Winston to actually give the people what they want. And what the people want is a Chiefs loss. Any time of the year, any type of season, they're just ready for the Chiefs to lose. And I think the Browns is going to happen. The Browns is going to make it happen, man. I know they're going to make it happen. And one of the things here, too, that I highlighted and put a focus on and emphasis on when I was looking at this matchup is, man, Browns have been airing it out. Browns have been letting it fly with Jameis Winston. There's only been one game where he hasn't thrown the ball over 40 times. This man has been letting it go. So because the Browns are constantly letting it fly, and catch this, the Chiefs' weakest part of their team right now is that secondary in the passing defense that they have. There's that potential opportunity for the Browns to take advantage of. Not saying it will happen. I don't know if it will. But I'm going to just put faith in Jameis Winston, because when Jameis Winston is gotten up out there, it can get sticky for a lot of other teams. It can get real bad. Because when he get in the rhythm and he get to talking about the quote he be saying, man, I don't remember the quote, man. The quote he says about the pregame, man, I need to just see the pregame speech. Everything I need to know about if the Browns will actually win this game, I'll know in a pregame speech with Jameis Winston. And if you don't know about Jameis Winston, pregame speeches, they're epic. Epic. Unwavering faith. That's what it is. Unwavering faith. Unwavering belief. Dependent on the Lord. That's what he is. That boy Jameis. That boy Jameis. Oh my God, man. If Jameis Winston comes out and gives an epic pregame speech at home in Cleveland against the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm telling you right now, the Cleveland Browns will give the Chiefs their second loss of the season. And I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, man. I just got a feeling this is where it's going to be. The Chiefs defense has been so finicky when it comes to passing. They're bottom 5 right now. And Jameis is airing it out, throwing over 40 plus yards in all his games besides one. I just know, man, if Jameis Winston come out and he talking about depending on the Lord, unwavering faith, unwavering belief, oh, it's over with. It's over with, because Jameis be locked in. He be locked in, man. I'm telling you, it's going to get bad. It's going to get real sticky for the Chiefs come late game, and it's not going to go their way. The magic that's been happening all year for the Chiefs, it's just not going to happen in their way. So I'm on the train of saying Browns got it, man. I think the Cleveland Browns win this game in Cleveland against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's happening. Put it down. Put it down. Just take note. Just take note. Don't put no money down. But just take note. Take note. That's all. All right, look, man. We got some news for the run. But before we jump into that, go ahead, shoot us a quick take on our voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. Whether you agree with something I was saying, whether you think the Bills gonna win, the Chiefs gonna win, Steelers gonna lose, whatever the case is, just go ahead, shoot us a quick take. Let us know if I was wrong and you got to gloat a little bit, like we seen from the last week's Minnesota Vikings fan about how he beat my Falcons. Then, hey, so be it. It's all fun and games. So go ahead, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. And, of course, we'll play it back on our next episode. We got some news for the run, and then we're going to wrap up. We'll be right back. I guess now it's halftime, even though it's maybe more like the third quarter, but whatever. It's halftime. We'll be right back.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
Bored at home? Head over to Chumba Casino and join some serious social casino fun. With hundreds of games at your fingertips, no purchase necessary. You can play anytime, anywhere. There's a special welcome bonus waiting for you when you sign up. Play for fun, play for free, and you could even redeem some great prizes. Visit ChumbaCasino.com and get ready to reel in the fun. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
All right, man, let's jump into it. We got some news for the run. So, as you know, the college football playoffs has started, so I'm not going to get into all the matchups. We're going to save it a little bit later. But there is some college football news that you still need to hear. Legendary Patriots coach Bill Belichick has officially agreed to become the new head coach of University of North Carolina. Crazy. It was just a rumor earlier in the week, but it went on to say Bill Belichick handed them what they called a Bible of how to recruit players and how things can work out with the NIL deal in terms of managing money and why he wants to be the coach at University of North Carolina. Apparently his dad was a coach in the 50s at UNC, so this is great for them, man. I'm excited. This hypes up college football a lot because, man, you got primetime coaching over there in Colorado. Now you got big Bill Belichick out there coaching in UNC. Should be fun. Anyway, some miscellaneous news. YouTube TV will go up on its price again. Man, from 2017, YouTube TV has increased its price by 137%. So it was originally at $34.99 back in 2017. And now, before the playoffs of the NFL, it's going to cost viewers $82.99, which is crazy. You know who would never do that? Streamies. Streamies would just never. They wouldn't even think about charging people. The TV app, the.TV app, I want to put y'all on, whatever, would never even think about charging people an additional amount to watch sports. And Cracked Streams would never. The.crackedstreams.ws would never think about charging people to watch sports. I still can't wrap my head around it. So shout out to them. Because YouTube TV and the rest of Peacock and all of these other streaming platforms that are charging people to watch sports, man, that's rough, man. That's rough. I can't. My days of, I don't want to say that. I don't want to. I don't want to be investigated. But there are a lot of sources out there that you should use if you don't want to pay for sports. I'm gonna just leave it at that. All right. Anyway, let's move on with the news. So the MLB, man, they got some stuff going on right now too. So former Yankees player Juan Soto just signed the largest contract in sports history. This man just signed with the New York Mets for 15 years, $765 million to play with the New York Mets. Man, so he gets additional money if he wins MVP, $500K, and then $1 million each year after that if he wins MVP again. So crazy deal. I still can't even believe Juan Soto went to the Mets instead of staying in a big market like the Yankees. So the rumor has it that Yankees offered him just about the same amount of money for the same amount of years, but it was just like a $5 million difference for the 15-year period. I personally think it was also some additional things in it. Obviously, you know, the $500K for MVP and $1 million each year after that. That stuff might have played a factor into it. The Mets, they gave Juan Soto's family like 4 premium seats for every home game. That could have also played a big factor into it. Who really knows? But I'm just shocked. The Mets, man. Not the Yankees. He left the New York Yankees, but went to go play with the Mets. I'm shocked about it, man. And now the Mets, I don't even know if they'll even have enough money to still bring in talented players. But as we know, the Yankees going to continue to make moves. The Yankees was just there in the World Series. All they needed was 3 more games, and they would have been straight. They would have won. Like, why not run it back with the Yankees when you were already so close? So, you know, separate topic, not even gonna touch on it right now. Anyway, look, I'm gonna bring y'all some information with the NBA Cup, man, because the NBA Cup is going on right now in the NBA, and things has happened. This is that tournament, the in-season tournament, where you get $500K per player if you win the championship of the in-season tournament. Pretty dope so far. I mean, it's definitely helped basketball. We're going on year 2 for it. It's still a new thing, but ultimately, just to kind of give you an idea where the bracket is right now. So there was only 8 teams that made it in total. So you had 4 from the East, 4 from the West in terms of teams that were playing for this in-season tournament championship. The Bucks, they played the Magic and they ended up defeating the Magic. The Knicks, they played the Hawks last night. Ice Tray went off and the Hawks ended up getting the dub at Madison Square Garden. And then in the Western Conference, you had the Dallas Mavericks. They played the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then the Houston Rockets, they beat the Golden State Warriors. The cool thing about the in-season tournament, I will say, is anything really can happen. And anything does happen in the in-season tournament because it's just one game, you move on. You lose, you're eliminated. It's pretty cool. So now you got Bucks and Hawks on the Eastern Conference. They're actually going to be playing on the 14th. And then you got the Rockets and the Thunder playing as well. And whichever team wins from each conference will go play in the in-season tournament championship. So definitely going to be cool. But last thing here, man, I'm going to just go ahead and list off some of the other NFL games that you can watch. So in the NFL, man, definitely some good things coming up. I mentioned some of the games earlier that's going to be cool for Week 15. But a few other games, if your favorite team is out there and you're wondering who they playing, you got the Cincinnati Bengals playing the Tennessee Titans. Commanders are playing the Saints. Ravens got the Giants. Cowboys will take on the Panthers in North Carolina. The Jets will play the Jaguars. The Dolphins will play the Texans. Colts will play the Broncos. I mentioned Eagles, Steelers, Lions, Bills. Patriots will play the Cardinals. Buccaneers got the Chargers. Green Bay Packers will play the Seattle Seahawks. And for Thursday night football, or I'll do Monday night football too, my Atlanta Falcons, we got a doubleheader actually on Monday night football. My Atlanta Falcons will be playing the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas. Chicago Bears will be taking on the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. Divisional matchup there. Should be great. And then for Thursday night football tonight, if you're listening, you know, whether you listen before the game, of course, I appreciate it. If you do, man, you really family. But the Rams are going to play the 49ers, so should be a fun outcome for this game. But I really think the Rams going to take care of business here and handle everything they got to handle. Other than that, man, look, hey, I appreciate you. You've been kicking it with me the whole episode. You're going to stay here. You listen to the full one. You ain't even do the short versions, but if you did that, man, of course, give us a quick call, 219-413-9405. Let us know what you were thinking about any other topics. If you want to comment on something, you want to ask a question, or just, you know, hey, give some feedback. We always open to it. And of course, you know, we'll play your take back on our next episode. So again, 219-413-9405, and then we'll play it back on our next episode. I'm going to leave y'all on a positive note. The positive note here is just going to be, you know, slow motion is better than no motion. I've said this before, but it's one of my favorite things to think of because a lot of times we get so caught up in like feeling as if we're not doing enough when we're really making a lot of things happen. So regardless of the speed of it, Nothing's going to happen overnight, but slow motion is better than no motion. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. Other than that, man, send it to a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, coworker, friend, spouse, partner, whatever you want to put a title on and consider family. I promise you they're not going to mind. Send us their way. But until then, man, look, hey, y'all have a great weekend. And make sure you enjoy yourself. Consider that positive note. And, hey, man, that's all I got for y'all. So we'll be back later on next week. It's so on and so on and so on.